standing out as a strong player to me over time. There is going to definitely be a, obviously not to mention some of the bigger names that are over there. Just trying to highlight young Snatchy. He's impressed me over the last couple months. But the thing is for Mouse, I think they've just been performing a little bit better.
Yeah.
In terms of individually even. Nuke isn't the best map for them though, and that's the one thing that could be going for VP right now. But we have a very limited pool of knowledge about Mouse on this map.
And as you see right there, Chris is gonna be just the one waiting outside. Pardon, that was actually Robs. In the meantime, Snatchy and Mihu are the only two. And so,
2v4.
I mean,
look at the amount of utility they've got to work with coming back in for this. It gives them a shot.
yeah, but
With the kid in play, but so many fights to take out in the open. It's not likely. Is that a knife? Oh no.
Oh, Voxic. Seems like no Turkish backstab in the meantime. Chris, I think Chris was alert and taking an eye for a second. You saw he had no idea that it was behind him. VP not getting the initial one. And so, dear Mitch, the T site on this map is most likely, and we don't really need to discuss that, disadvantageous. So, yeah.
Well, you know the thing is, looking at Mouse in general, when they played up against NIP, they actually suffered a loss on this map, which I wouldn't really have expected in general, considering the fact that they managed to beat Wendigo 16-6 with a dominant as hell terrorist side. 11 rounds on the board, and even still they got off to a fantastic start. 10 for 5 versus NIP, and that was their T side.
Right.
And yet still, that proved to just not be enough. They only got 3 rounds in the CT. It ended up being 16-13 in favor of NIP with an 11-round T side coming through from them. So, just because we see Maz get off to a strong start on the terrorist doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end of things when it swaps over. And to me, we need to see a convincing performance from them, winning at the half. Maybe, 7-8 rounds on the board.
The thing is, I still have overall no high hopes with virtus.pro. I don't want to sound like somebody who's hating on them or something like that. For me personally, VP is just not a team anymore. That really proves what they're made of. And the reason why I'm saying that is simply that their overall performances in the past were not that convincing. Talking about that, Mouse, you are doing a few mistakes right here. Snatchy is taking down another, and back on site, Veggie waits.
Digging his roots into the floor. Chris J's going to be coming forward, taking Snacks out. Alkalicious tries to force the issue, but not able to get a whole lot on the back of it. Still, the kills keep on swinging back over towards that CT side. A tag even goes down on the Frozen, who was high on HP, but now with only 6 left to go. It's starting to look pretty grim. The CTs, although they shouldn't be able to deny this bomb plant, they catch a kill onto Frozen on the way out. He was 6 HP, so body shot would have done, but Mihu, he wanted the head. Chris J comes out, they line up, but no kill for him. And 2-0, not going to happen today, although the bomb plant is at least secure to give a little bit of extra cash over towards the terrorist side. Thing for me, as well as the fact that, okay, well, Mouse have had really good T-sides and yet failed to close out the map in general. When you take a look over towards VP, yeah, okay, they've got a better win rate. You could look at it that way. But the teams they're playing aren't spectacular, and they're going for like 60 rounds against XCOM and then barely beating them. They've Ancient 1640. I mean, they're not winning any landslides against the decent level teams, and even the decent level teams are far below Mousesports.
The thing is, which is the perfect counter example by now, is that Big versus Sprout overpass. Statistics have to be watched more in detail. That's what it has proven to us. Good night, Snatchy. Pardon, good night, Kerrigan. Chris J says, knock knock. Who's there? Finds one with man, Veggie, and the Nate is a bit of a pain, but either way, what I wanted to say, right? Statistics don't always tell us the full picture in that sense that, for example, with Overpass, we saw that 0-5. In the meantime, Robs is here in Snatchy. Robs? Doesn't care. Okay then. And if it's gonna be that way, I'm fine. Chris J with a very smart play. And he's gonna wait that out. Robs don't knife. And he waits for a bit more players to come from down. Eliminates him. So brilliant. This is enjoyable. I love this right now. Though even if it doesn't work, that's major damage dealt.
Nice shot onto Chris J to finish him off, leaving Rops all alone. Lots of damage done, but still, I mean, I don't want to overhype it, but the potential to win the round. He's got a CZ, he's got a scout. The one thing he's missing that would really give him a shot would be a little piece of armor. Give him a chance to use that CZ effectively, especially as he's up against the MAC-10 on Mihu. It should be a pretty clear-cut round for the counter-terrorist side.
Oh, but Mihu now goes down. For a second, I didn't know. He dodges it, but aw.
Not for long.
Would have been too beautiful, wouldn't it? I was hoping.
It would have been nice. I
was praying, but in the end, Mitch, we are now seeing this lovely, lovely bit of Counter-Strike going in favor of VP. The previous round, though, yet, and I think it was extremely important to say, hurts that CT economy a quite good bit. Because if VP are falling down right now, which doesn't seem that very unlikely, they will be economically somewhat reset, aren't they?
Well, this is the thing, right? Sprout. I'm still stuck in the previous game.
That's fine. Don't worry.
Like an hour late start in this one, but whatever. It's cool, guys. VP are in a bit of a weak spot, right? They've got the AWP out on Snatchy. He needs to have impacts coming into this round, going down to clear out outside. He shouldn't find too much there as Frozen's playing pretty passive, just holding for any aggression. If VP lose this round, they're into a bit of a pit where Mousesports should be able to build the rounds back up. And the problem is, if you're trading back and forth, on the T side, it's going to favor you economically. Not a bad shot from Chris J as Alkalicious goes down, but it's also going to favor you round-wise, because on a map like Nuke, you need to be dominantly winning out these rounds on the CT side to secure your economy and indeed to guarantee that you come out with a surplus of rounds, because it is essential. Starting it out, Mihu spamming down. I mean, we're into a 4v4 already. VP are getting the kills. All right, Woxic's going to try to pull it back, but now he's in a 1v4. Oh. 2 kills on the board. And he's taken down. Toe-tapped out of existence.
A word I've never heard in my life, but yep, indeed got toe-tapped out of his life. VP are here with a 3-1 lead. And so, I have to say, right, the thing is, if they once start denying virtus.pro's momentum, I see Mousesports taking a lot from it. This is the VP pick besides all of that. And next up would be Train, and finally it would be Overpass. Either way, in the meantime, things are starting to look quite alright for the virtus.pro side. And as we have the time for that, perfect. Thank you very much, Chris J. Snatchy back in the AJO lineup in the mid of 2018 was my favorite Snatchy and my favorite Polish team in the recent history of Counter-Strike. In the meantime, virtus.pro is only a Counter-Strike team that right now consists out of 2 players.
Bit of a disadvantage rolling into the round. The AUG, Alkalicious on the shotgun as well. Woxic glocks him. That's apparently a better weapon than the shotgun up close. He didn't get a shot fired off though, as it's only Veggie 1v4, AUG in hand. He's got the armor to work with. He's got utility, but a massive disadvantage. And even with the lack of armor in play for the T's, you have to take into consideration the fact that Carrigan is rolling in here with an AWP. You've got Rops on an M4. That shotgun could certainly cause some hassle up close, even with the gun kick. It was a really difficult round to pull off for Veggie. And he's just waiting, hoping that they plant, perhaps for him, or that they exit blue so we can take them down, but it's not going to happen. Frozen holding up close. They've got a player in heaven. They've spotted him out now. Everybody's going to be trained on the angle. Carrigan comes in on the op, misses the shot. Eventually connects the second, though, to close it out and put it 3-2. And again, trading those rounds back and forth, not what you want to see. Mousesports gain the economic advantage in that sense. As VP, you can see, after just losing 1 round, they're not feeling too great. Their economy takes a hit 3 in a row, but they lost enough players that now they have to go for a bit of an eco, although they've got 2 players that are going to be double eco, Alkalicious and Mihu down pretty low.
And I mean, I think you hate to see it as once more a very good way. And this is what I mentioned, right? Once they are actually Oh, Snacks running into his own affair. Once more, if they deny this further access, yeah, I think you might feel a little bad. I don't want a deja vu, Mitch. I've seen this weird echo bias going in, or more, not even echo bias, those echo situations, talking about it. How in God's name is Mouse losing those? It's a little odd, isn't it?
Well, at least they've got the ranged weapons to try and close these boys out, but the problem is VP have picked up a couple of their own. AWP swinging out. Mihu's got the angle, takes Woxic's head clean off. Veggie on another. It's down to a 1v1. Rops with an M4 in hand, closes in the distance. The bomb's dropped in the open. Mihu swings, but he's going to be taken down just as quickly as he went into the open. And now Mousesports at least equalize things, which is a great look for them early on. You do have to take into consideration they won the pistol round and lost the second. So that kind of evened things out a little bit in terms of pistol round impact. It's a shame they weren't able to follow through with a little bit of an early lead. But now they can follow through with an early lead if they take this round, because virtus.pro, again, they are starved for cash. If they lose this one, once more, Mousesports would probably follow through on a second. And that would put them on a 5-3 lead. And 5 rounds on the T side, this early on especially, would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. The low sample size, though, is something that doesn't really help us, right? We have no real understanding how good it's going to be for the lads of Mousesports in the end. Alcolicious from up on top, denied. Further access, they're not granted. More spray coming down. One left back on the side. It's going to be Snatchy. Good night for you. Mihu mollied away. And in a matter of seconds, VP collapse. Well, Mitch, that is a fast round. And here's the thing. If Mouse, let's hypothetically say, gets 7 rounds. Overall, on average, that's a lot for the T side. But how good is Mouse on CT? We know virtus.pro hardly can do too much when they're the aggressors. Yeah, that's for sure true. But either way, how far can they advance? That's my question.
I'm assuming at this point you're going to see Mouse with a pretty dominant terrorist side, just based on how these buy rounds have been going. The problem for me, again, like you said, that small sample size, I don't believe in their counter-terrorist side so much, but that would be if they were against a team kind of on par with the likes of Wendigo. NIP, I'm hesitant to say on par with. They're a little bit of an inconsistent team recently, but VP at the moment, they're shaky on this map. They don't look good against teams far worse than Mousesports, and I think even just on an individual level, they should be able to overcome this this feat. I mean, 60 rounds against XCOM. XCOM aren't a terrible team, but they're one I would expect VP to beat.
I mean, you have to brutally say, like, it's XCOM. It's not Mousesports. It's not a highly experienced Kerrigan. It's not the young gun Frozen. It's not Op legend Chris J. It's XCOM. And virtus.pro have been playing on a different caliber for a while. And this is where, as harsh as it might sound, the brand still stays. The shot of Snacks stays as well. And as the bullet has to be removed surgically out of Frozen's head, the rest of the team is taking the A side with ease. No real problem right there. 40 seconds to go for the plant, and now 40 seconds to go for the fuse. I have high doubts, major doubts, big doubts, that this is going to work too well.
They're going to go sneaky beaky. Like, their best chance is to try and catch a couple players off guard with these pistols, overwhelm them by surprise. And Alcolicious takes one, but he's going to be disappointed to find out he's only found an SMG for his efforts. Looking towards the bomb site. They push out together in heaven, and there's a trade. Snatchy finding one. He's bailed down to the bomb site. Alcolicious coming in. Is eliminated. Yeah, Snatchy's 1v3, but at least he might be able to save this AK. It looks unlikely, though, as both players challenge him. And although he does fall and no weapon saved over for VP, at least Mousesports have lost a couple of weapons there, which goes away to start controlling their economy. They have still got quite a lot of cash built up on some of their players, though. So even though Woxic's on $700, he can just buy the armor utility next round if they lose this and get dropped over an AK.
Well, in the meantime, that 5-3 could be now denied. I mean, pardon, the momentum could be denied. Snacks with a great entry. The players wanted to go aggressively a little further. They know about the main individual, but Frozen forced to move a little differently. Kerrigan from outside might be beheaded. He sees the shadow beforehand, and Snacks on the double puts virtus.pro in a good spot.
Good man advantage to work with at least.
Oh, Frozen.
With 3 AKs. I don't know. His position given away at this point. And Mihu's still holding there from afar. There's no access towards the bomb site just yet. Rop still has to come down. If they do want to plant there. And eventually they're looking to hit that A bomb site. Snacks picks up one, but there's Rops falling with the bomb over towards blue in this round. As Woxic didn't even spot Veggie up above. It's gone awry pretty quickly.
I'm more likely confused that Frozen didn't check his right-hand side that properly. Either way, that's the way it is. And now, Mousesports back on a decent buy. Even the follow-up round allows them to some degree to get something into it. I mean, Kerrigan and Chris at least are able to. Let's see what their setup is like in this round. And there's a bit of a bait. Arcolicious and his crew might be falling for it yet again. Frozen on outside. Oh, good night, Arcolicious. That's so brutal and so beautiful in the meantime. They know about Veggie on site. He has to say bye-bye as well. Only one more remaining is Snacks. I'm not so happy about the duel in the end, but Chris should be able to get the bomb down safely. And there's the post-plant situation. Snacks stands a chance. It's not going to be easy though, is it?
Not going to be easy at all, especially with his head ripped off by Kerrigan from afar, holding the angle by the vents with the SG in hand, and 6-4. A dominant scoreline develops early on for Mousesports, and this is where VP need to make a harsh decision. What do they do with their economy? And it's going to be a force buy. Snatchy as well on 2700. It's going to have a pretty weak bit of cash to work with. He goes for the scout alongside the armor. No utility, but if you're rolling the scout, you can get away with it. As well as the SMG coming through from Alkalicious. VP, for all intents and purposes, considering the weak economy they came in with, they still have a pretty decent chance of making this work. Alkalicious is holding them close to the door with the SMG, and then you've got the scout obviously playing over towards the ramp as a support tool, so they can still get some very good damage done with these.
The thing for me is right now, if they collapse, which now seems to be a bit tending that way, it's a major problem occurring, right? Because virtus.pro are broken. They're economically freaking on the breadline. Snacks reacts wisely. Veggie can't prevail against Frozen. This is nasty, Mitch. This is disgusting. But Chris on 5, Frozen slightly damaged. Snacks and Alkalicious, I think they would even do themselves a favor by saving. At least Snacks would and does that. And you know what this is the perfect time for? Kerrigan died. Do you remember where Kerrigan died? On outside, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, you might be calling me weird, but the reason why is because it's a very good time for trivia. The SG55 free skin you see there is, I don't know its name. It is based, though, on the good racing car livery of Martini you very often saw back in the day on Porsches. So, beautiful color. I'm sorry, just popped in my mind. I couldn't stop thinking of it. It's a beautiful livery. It's a beautiful livery. Because there's also the dualies that came in the same set, which have the Lancia Stratos L'Italia livery on it. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop.
As a man who knows absolutely nothing about cars, I don't know what you just said, but I'm glad it's cool.
It's cool. It's very cool, yes. I can confirm it's cool.
What's also pretty cool is walking away with a 7-4 lead. Sitting over on the terrorist side. It's a decent spot to be at. And VP struggling again after the force buy in the previous round. This is where I expected to see them taking it a bit easier, but no, they're jumping in.
Yeah,
they want to invest all the way down to the wire, so they have just enough money for the next round. They get out as much as they possibly can, and I kind of understand that decision in a way. You know, they didn't get too much done in some of the rounds so far. They need to keep managing that T-side economy. Ooh.
Yikes.
And not doing the damage on the Woxic there is really a nail in the coffin. They spotted the player coming down towards the right side, but they didn't think Woxic would be that close already.
That's a little unfortunate. It is virtus.pro right now, seemingly collapsing yet again. In the beginning, they really brought up a massive fight. They were having some heavy punches, but Frozen and co seem to be properly in the game. Talking about it, the ex-Euronics gaming player right now striking with force, and as he tried, Robs and Kerrigan steered the ship in the right direction. This is the first half, Mitch, already going in favor of Mouse on the T site.
The one thing that we can look to again and again, I just got to keep bringing it up, the fact that we saw Mousesports really struggle on the CT side, so we're not 100% sure how things are going to fare, but with such a strong performance coming through from the majority of their players, I mean, nobody's playing terribly at the moment. That means their CT side shouldn't see any huge weaknesses coming through.
I mean, I couldn't even agree more with you. And yet again, that's a shot in the face of Snatchy, absolutely obliterating him here. And as he has lost his head, Kerrigan and Co once more in the driver's seat. Veggie knows how to reply to it. But the individual skill of Mousesports is obviously quite up high. We have seen, though, and that's pretty much a shining light for me, the man who was just killed, Snacks, very often outperform the opponent individually. Nevertheless, 3 versus 2 and Mouse, they're not struggling too much.
Could get a little bit dangerous, though, as Alkalicious peeks in, but shut down straight away. And it's really hard to find a glimmer of hope for VP. Having such a struggle, despite good early performance, this is the thing, it's been boring, essentially. They've only won 1 round from the time that they shut Mousesports down. Like, Mousesports win pistol, following 3 go to VP after Force Buy goes wrong, Eco buy. Then all of a sudden, Mousesports just come through. They dominate from the time that they get full weapons out. And VP are left. They win that 1 round that they managed to pull off. And since then, nothing. They're barely even rounds that came down close. And this is a massive problem right now. As Mousesports are walking away with these buy rounds, when we see VP swap over, you're going to be relying on just huge individual performances, because right now we're not seeing a whole lot coming through. And Alkalicious is the most surprising to me, because he's been such a strong player in a lot of the games that I've seen him in. To see him now really struggle like this is uncharacteristic. Yeah,
funny wise, Alkalicious has been in the German scene for a while, and recently played for Euronics Gaming. And as he used to be there, and I remember there was a very good game he had versus LDLC, where also the German guy I mentioned earlier, Defran, was absolutely obliterating the Frenchman. He made a name for himself, and it's nice to see that virtus.pro, I think they are really thinking through their moves. I think they're not just randomly picking any guys who speaks Polish. So Alkalicious, for me, a decent choice for the future. Now he himself totally fine in the frag, and might just put them in a good spot, because Veggie, in the meantime, says, knock knock Kerrigan, how are you doing? Weapon upgrade is there. But Veggie, most likely, not really standing a chance, and that's gonna be pretty much it. Double digits on the T side of Nuke. How often do you say that?
Not too often. I guess it's only when you see massively one-sided matches. I mean, Maz obviously come in as the heavy favorites, and we talked about this before we started it off. They're really good on their terrorist side, and they're miles better than VP. And that's really the big issue that VP are hitting right now. Being worse. Like, Veggie going for a save here. He's going to carry the SG forward, but you're talking about final round. Still, VP at least, the one positive for them, the one thing that's really going their way is their loss bonus. But it's been on their way for quite a while, and nothing's really changed about it. One last chance to try and close it out 10-5, which is a scoreline that wouldn't look too bad for VP if they were on the T side.
I mean, even if it's not the sunny side up.
Yeah.
Either way. I mean, virtus.pro feel they really get punished right now. In the beginning rounds, yet again, I felt, okay, especially when they got that conversion round, if I remember correctly, no, this is not looking too bad. And in the meantime, Mousesports just getting out of bed and waking up properly, realizing, okay, this is right now where we can shine. And they do, but Snacks just put the single fire mode onto the SG553, taking down Voxic and Chris J. The final round of the first half turns out to be the Snacks round.
Absolutely. He's not just having snacks, he's having a whole meal. Eventually going to be tapped away by Frozen and taken down, but into a 1v4. Frozen has to pull it all off. He's been watched by Snatchy on the op, and we've complimented his scoped abilities in the past. He closes it out 10-5 at least, so somewhat of a hope for virtus.pro, but realistically, things are looking as bleak as they could. It's been domination right now from Mousesports. And you think about the next map being Train and then Overpass. I mean, they're not getting a break. They're not getting a chance to take it down to a more relaxed map. And Mousesports definitely not terrible at Train, you could say.
Not terrible is a very, very simple way to put it. They have played this map 9 times in the last 3 months, won it 9 out of 9 against North, Optic, G2, Avantgarde. The mouse train never really stops when it comes down to that map. In the meantime, we first of all need to see that this finished off in favor of Mouse, or if virtus.pro bounce back massively. Veggie takes a bit of outside control, and Mihu makes himself ready for the right piece of utility.
VP not going to be taking it too fast, though. They're hoping to bait Mousesports into getting a little bit aggressive. After putting a little bit of presence towards the A site, they're creeping around in radio. They've got Veggie lurking on outside. They're looking for absolutely anybody on Mousesports, just pushing out of position a tiny bit to give them an edge.
Super weird how he team flashes his mate. Carrigan is going to capitalize on Snacks, one of the pivotal pillars, with Robs just peeking out on ramp in time. virtus.pro only down to 3 with 60 seconds left on the clock. Dark clouds over the orange spear. And suddenly, only Veggie to turn things around. I don't believe that this is going any further, and there he gets killed. Mouse with number 11 on the CT side. A brilliant start. No real flaw they have shown. This is very confusing. This is extremely confusing, and in the meantime, it's Mousesports flexing so hard and showing us how good they are, how easily they can dupe their opponent, and how dynamic they play in the meantime.
They're expected to dominate coming into this. I'm looking forward to seeing what VP can pull out in the next round. Maybe they can string together a couple as they finally get AKs out, but I guess the other side of that is that as they move on to their full buy round on the terror side, they get to play things a little bit more towards their comfort zone. But at the same time, you know, you wouldn't really expect this to be a map that they're uncomfortable on the CT side on, being as they picked it up against Mouse. I don't know if that was maybe just a little bit of a counter pick, as it's one of the least played maps for Mouse. They thought that's where they'd have the best chance, but evidently it's just not the case. Being destroyed as Woxic walks out. He's going to check the back corner as well. Snacks doesn't get anything for it. A quick shot, but it only does 2 damage.
And I think if you want to start a comeback, this is your round. This is where virtus.pro needs to play, well, pretty much consummate, and should not condone any more of the force of Mousesports, as otherwise Nuke might become a pandemonium with pain all over the place. Just putting this out real quick, Chris on 15, Robs on 19, Voxic on 17 kills, and that after, well, 17 rounds basically, with number 18 starting right now, Robs with an aggressive stance. And what a nade! Snatching down to half HP!
Straight away. It's not a nice position to start in. Just completely taken down. Your chances of winning out those duels decrease significantly, especially like you've got those 2 SMGs in play, so that's a pretty hefty bonus for Mousesports to light someone up early. Now you look towards it. Outside control in favor of Mouse. They haven't spotted anybody there. Over towards the A site. Nobody making noise. Door opens. Now they have a little bit of info. Molotov's on outside. Chris J decides to progress forward, trying to flank out those A players, but instead he runs right into Veggie. Takes him down, rotates in. Man advantage in play for the CTs. The Snacks getting naded even further. Robs just deletes them on ramp, and it's just an absolute massacre. Carrigan coming up behind, MP9 in hand. A little bit of extra cash for him. Not that the CTs really need it. They only lose 1 player there, so the reinvestment coming into this round is going to be so minuscule. And they're dominating VP right now. They have them figured out, and even when they don't, they just win out those duels. I
mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but VP seems somewhat callow. And that is, for me, just Mousesports buttressing what they're made of at this point in time. VP not going to capitulate anytime soon. Either way, though, I'm gutted. I'm very honestly gutted about this. And I'm at the same time happy to see how good Mousesports can consistently perform. That after they got the young guns, it's not only this honeymoon sort of thing.
Let's see how the ramp hold works against a pistol rush. Robson's going to try to bail on back the P250. It's not enough to take him down as support comes in from Carrigan. And again, just cleanly kept out, but VP at least do get that bomb plant by dropping down. Snacks, that's a little bit extra cash for the next round, but they need to figure out something to help that work, because even with the bomb plant, they don't drop a single player.
Right.
And they had the chance to take Robs. It's just Carrigan reacts so quickly coming down from heaven and supporting him. It's 14-5. Economic position for Mouse that they're still rocking in with an SMG on Chris J. They just don't feel the need to upgrade. And they've got plenty of time to waste. I mean, 14-5. They can afford to play as many bonus rounds as they want at this point.
I really gotta say this is somewhat of a surprise. I mean, I didn't expect it to be this brutal. And talking about brutality, Mitch, 123 average damage dealt per round from the man Rops.
Snatchy opens it up. Chris is down. Rops' damage might be needed this time to increase even further. One thing we have seen is that Chris J's been phenomenal on opening kills and trades as well. He's 6 for 1 in opening duels, and a lot of those were on the T side. There was 2 rounds in a row they single-handedly devoured the A-bomb side. Oof. Nice shot by Woxic onto Mihu. That pulls it back into a 4v4. But it won't last too long, as VP claim that outside control. They're pushing Mouse into a little bit more of a passive stance, you would imagine. Rops just peeks out, and he wins the duel.
A very successful one, but Oculicious pins him down in the locker room. Rops can't move and is so taken down. Man equalized it is. And the chances are there, but Kerrigan sneaks for the smoke, sees the shadow of the Polish AWP. And the bomb last spotted on outside is going to be picked by Oculicious. The Polish duo stands somewhat of a chance, but Voxic and his teammate don't really look so far like they're allowing too many mistakes. They don't look like there's too much pressure onto them. And you see the bomb right now moving for Secret. They're pretty much split up. One going ramp, one going the other way around from outside. And in 18 seconds, Mousesports should realize anytime soon, this isn't the A side, this is all about B.
They'll realize as the bomb goes down, an angle not going to be found in Vents as Woxic's actually taken out. This could be the round, but it's all down to Oculicious to pull off a 1v2 clutch. AK in hand, spots out Frozen, and he's eliminated. He knows exactly where Carrigan is as well. 100 HP, but the headshot takes him down. And 14-6, VP finally get a round on the board. But Mousesports now can reinvest, and they can take out any weapons that they want. No SMGs to be rolling into this one.
And there you really, really gotta say that this Mousesports lineup is under pressure still performing brilliantly. It's just a little flaw here and there that sometimes came in. For example, you could have thought that they maybe rotate a little faster to the B side. Either way, they have so much wiggle room and so much time, I'm not even worried. And virtus.pro surely finally getting around back on the board, but in the long run, is that going to work? As they're taking the outside with ease and quite swiftly approached now the side. Frozen gets the bomb down and alerts his teammates.
With Chris J taking Veggie as well. Despite both of them being very low HP, it still leaves a 2-man advantage over, and Snacks on 50. They have to get that bomb planted. Plenty of time to maneuver, though. They don't have to commit fully towards this bomb site, but they are kind of trapped down here. And that's a little bit of a problem for them. Even as they attempt to leave, they don't know if someone's pushed towards outside or posted in heaven. Woxic takes Snacks out with the AWP. And it's just such an awkward spot now to play from for virtus.pro. They have no information anywhere else on the map. Even their B information is pretty much non-existent. So wherever they go, I mean, Snatchy and Oculicious, the 2 players that have been struggling the most in this series for virtus.pro, have to try and pull this. They're picked by the op, and Woxic just holding the angle. He'd already spotted Snatchy crossing. And that's 15-6. It's map point here on VP's map choice. One that doesn't look the best for them on paper. I do feel like this was a decision to try and take Mousesports on ground where they're not so comfortable, considering it's their least played map in the pool that they don't ban out. And yet it hasn't worked out very well at all.
No, I mean, really. And to just give you a little bit of an idea, dear Mitch, the winning probability for Mouse is over 98% right now. So
You can see it.
You obviously can see it. Kerrigan takes down Mihu at first. Seems a bit like a desperate move there in the end. Alkalicious though with a beautiful kill on Robs, opening up the ramp. Chances now to take the B side quite swiftly. They're there, but either way, Mouse is still looking for more. Directly dropping down. The bomb has been hurt. They don't know about the HUD player, but I'm not quite sure if that's going to make a difference in the short run.
Carrying a little bit of a twitch reaction. Fair enough. As they close in the distance, Veggie and Snacks holding down. Veggie picks up one with the Mac-10. Okay, down to a 2 versus 3, but they've got the information now. They know where that SMG is. Still, they're going to have to take a close range fight. Doesn't really matter. Snacks coming up behind, though. This would be a huge round for him to win with the UMP in hand. They're defusing already. He takes Woxic out in the open, though.
No chance.
He's put down by Carrigan. And
immediately.
That's it.
I mean,